They had been watching Earth for centuries, not with greed or anger, but with deep curiosity. High above the blue planet, hidden inside a silent orbit, the alien ship known as Virelon floated like a ghost. It was wrapped in a perfect cloak, unseen by every telescope, every radar, every human eye. The aliens who lived within it called themselves the Anshar, old travelers of the stars, moving from one world to another, always unseen. For a long time, they believed that Earth was not ready to know them. They observed human wars, human love, human dreams and mistakes, carefully recording every detail. They learned human languages, studied human history, and even listened to music broadcast into space. Some among them laughed softly when they heard human songs about aliens, imagining green monsters. To the Anshar, humans were strange, emotional, and unpredictable creatures. Inside the observation chamber, Commander Serac, leader of the mission, stood before a great viewing screen. It showed Earth spinning slowly below. Next to him, Scholar Nira, one of the youngest Anshar researchers, watched with wide silver eyes. "Look how they change," Nira said. "They build, they destroy, they rebuild. They fear, they hope. They are never still." Commander Serac nodded. "That is why we must remain hidden. They are not ready. Their hearts burn too fast." Hidden in silence, the Anshar continued their secret mission. Every century they sent silent probes to Earth's atmosphere. Their record rooms were filled with images of ancient tribes painting on cave walls, great empires rising and falling, humans landing on the moon, machines flying across the skies. They saw tragedies, wars, and disasters. But they also saw courage, sacrifice, and kindness. Some Anshar believed humans could become great allies someday. Others believed humans were dangerous, too wild to be trusted. And so, the cloak remained, a perfect shield that bent light and hid them from the world below. But everything changed on a cold night. When the Earth was wrapped in quiet darkness, far across the alien ship, alarms suddenly lit up. The silent corridors glowed with warning lights. The great engines, designed to last 1,000 years, trembled. Something impossible had happened inside the cloaking core. "Core instability detected," an artificial voice echoed through the ship. Commander Serac rushed to the control deck. Panels flickered. The cloak wavered like a broken mirror. For the first time in centuries, pieces of the ship shimmered against black space, briefly visible. "Stabilize the cloak," Serac ordered. His voice calm but sharp. Engineers rushed, hands moving across glowing panels. Nira's heartbeat quickened. She had never seen a cloak failure in her lifetime. The ship had never glitched. It was built by their ancestors, trusted and perfect. Yet now the impossible was happening. Down on Earth, a sky watcher in a small hill town stared through his telescope. He blinked. For a second, something vast and unnatural had appeared among the stars. A shape, a shadow. Then it vanished again. Confused, he rubbed his eyes, wondering if it was a trick. The Anshar ship tremored again. "Our cloak is faltering," Nira whispered. "If it collapses, they will see us." Commander Serac clenched his jaw. "Repair teams to the core. Do not let it fail." In the engineering deck, Technician Voris, a veteran of many systems, examined the pulsing core. The energy shell flickered, unstable. Ancient circuits pulsed irregularly, almost like a heartbeat out of rhythm. "It is age," Voris muttered. "The core is too old. It needs rest, not more strain. But if we turn it off," Nira said softly, "Earth will see us. And if we do nothing," Voris replied, "the core will fail on its own." A choice hung in the air. Above the planet, the great ship flickered once more. A momentary flash. Clouds below reflected a glint of silver metal. Across Earth, cameras captured strange lights in the night. A few people posted blurry images online. Some laughed. Some panicked. Some whispered that it was a ship. Inside the ship, Commander Serac faced a silent truth. The cloak could fail at any moment. For centuries, they controlled the secret. But now, perhaps fate had other plans. In her private chamber, Nira watched recordings of humans. A firefighter rescuing a child from flames. A doctor holding an old man's hand. A soldier crying over a lost friend. She wondered what it would be like to stand before them, not as an unseen watcher, but as a being that exists. They are afraid of the unknown, she said to herself. But they are also drawn to it, she stood. A thought formed. Maybe their mission was no longer to hide, but to understand, truly. On Earth, the first whispers began. Strange lights above the clouds. A ship in the stars. Questions with no answers. Governments mobilized radars, telescopes, and satellites, seeking the unknown. In the silent halls of the Anshar vessel, the ancient engines struggled. The cloak, once eternal, flickered like the last breath of a dying flame. Commander Serac stood before the great viewing screen. Earth glowed with blue and green, spinning peacefully, unaware of what approached. Perhaps, he whispered, they are finally ready to see. And in that silent moment, as hearts, both human and alien, moved toward a future neither side expected, the invisible watchers faced the possibility of being seen at last. Morning came quietly across Earth, but something was different. In small towns and great cities, people woke with a strange unease. They had seen nothing clearly, yet many felt it, a silent disturbance in the sky. News channels began to buzz with blurry images from the night before. A streak of silver, a massive shadow, a shape among the stars. In a quiet observatory near the sea, Dr. Elias Ward, an astronomer, replayed footage captured during the night. He leaned close to the screen. Frame by frame he saw it. A faint shimmer, too large to be a meteor, too still to be a plane. This is not debris, he muttered. This is controlled. He sent a report to the National Space Agency. Most would ignore it or laugh, but he could not shake it. Something was there, something watching. Across the world others felt it too. Pilots reported sudden compass errors. Weather stations recorded unexplained static. Radio enthusiasts picked up odd frequencies, signals with no origin. Some people claimed they heard whispers through old radios, like distant voices speaking in unknown tones. Fear slowly crept across the human mind. Above them, on the hidden ship Virilon, the Anshar worked to stabilize their failing cloak. But their great technology, older than many civilizations, was tired. It flickered again, sending ripples through Earth's upper atmosphere. In the control deck, Commander Serac stood with arms behind his back. Before him, screens showed human reactions. News anchors debated. Crowds gathered on rooftops. Some pointed upward with curiosity. Others trembled in fear. They do not attack the unknown, Scholar Nera said quietly. They question it. Do not be so sure, replied Captain Darren, head of security. Humans chase what they fear, and when they fear too much, they strike. Serac remained silent. His mind carried centuries of duty. The Anshar code was clear. Never interfere. Never reveal. Watch but never touch. But could that law survive what was coming? Far below in a military base, General Hayes examined radar data with narrowed eyes. The blip had appeared only for a moment, then vanished. Not a missile. Not a satellite. Something else. Keep this quiet, Hayes ordered. No public release. Find it. Track it. I want answers. Yet answers were not his to command. In a crowded city street, a young woman named Lena Marlowe stood frozen, clutching her phone. On the screen, a viral video replayed the silver flash captured in the night sky. Comments scrolled wildly. Some joked about aliens. Others warned of invasion. She felt neither amusement nor fear. She felt wonder. What if, she whispered, we are not alone? On the ship, Nera studied Lena's face on a monitor. She saw no weapons, no hatred, only wonder. And something stirred within her. A quiet hope, Commander, she said. We must consider contact. Captain Darren stepped forward sharply. Contact means risk. They are unpredictable. They wage war among themselves. Why reveal ourselves to such chaos? Nera turned to him calmly. Because chaos is not all they are. Look beyond their conflict. They create. They dream. They seek meaning. Serac lifted a hand. Silence fell. Our ancestors warned us, he said. A hidden watcher must never interfere. To reveal ourselves may shape their destiny. It may destroy it or complete it, Nera answered softly. Serac said nothing more, but his eyes returned to Earth. The decision would not be his to avoid. The cloak flickered again, longer this time, a crack in the veil. Throughout cities and villages, crowds gathered at night, staring upward. Some prayed, some recorded. Children pointed with excitement. Old men whispered ancient stories. The world held its breath. In a hidden facility, Dr. Elias received encrypted footage from a satellite. He opened the file. There it was. A colossal silhouette motionless in the sky, half seen but vast. His voice trembled. "This is no human craft." He wrote 4 words in his report. "We are not alone." Environ alarms sounded. A final warning flashed across every deck. Cloak energy at critical level. Collapse imminent. Commander Serac stood firm, but even his heart tensed. If the cloak failed, the illusion of invisibility would be gone. For the first time, humanity and the Anshar would look directly at one another. "Prepare fallback protocols," Captain Darren ordered. "If humans attack, we will defend." Nira stepped forward. "And if they reach out in peace?" Darren did not answer. His silence was answer enough. As night fell once more on Earth, the sky shimmered. A pulse, silent and unseen, raced across the clouds. Dogs barked. Birds rose in flocks. Electronic screens flickered. Streetlights dimmed. High above, light bent and twisted. The cloak trembled. In that fragile second, a small child standing in a dark field looked up and gasped. He saw it, a shape too grand for his mind to name. A shadow against the stars, vast and still. "Look," he cried, pointing. "There is something there." But when others looked, it was gone. Back on the ship, Serac closed his eyes. Fate was moving. The age of hidden watchers was ending. "Ready yourself," he said quietly. The world below is awakening. The night over Earth was quiet, but not peaceful. Something stirred above the clouds, something unseen yet heavy. Across deserts, seas and cities, people felt it in their bones, a pressure in the air, as if the sky itself held a secret too large to contain. They did not know that far beyond their reach, the great alien ship Virelon trembled on the edge of exposure. Inside the ship, alarms flared through every corridor. Engineers rushed to stations. The ancient cloak core pulsed with unstable energy, like a heart beating out of rhythm. The metallic walls groaned with stress. "Cloak integrity at 30%, the system voice warned. Commander Serac stood on the command deck, eyes fixed on the pulse of Earth below. His voice remained calm, yet every officer felt the weight of his tension. "Hold the cloak," he ordered. "Do not let it fall." Captain Darren, rigid and stern, oversaw the defense systems. "If exposure is confirmed, we arm shields," he insisted. "Humans will not greet us with welcome." Scholar Nira stood apart from them, eyes full of thought. She watched the Earth differently. "Not as a threat, but as a mystery. They will react with fear," she said quietly. But fear is not always hatred. In the engineering deck, Technician Voris struggled with the core controls. It was older than any living Anshar, a relic of their first starfarers. Its energy matrix flickered with arcs of light. "It will not hold," Voris said. "If we force it any longer, it may rupture." "Then reset it," Serac commanded over comms. Voris hesitated. "A reset means total decloak. Full visibility." Silence met those words. Serac closed his eyes. The law of the Anshar was clear. The watch must never become the witnessed. But the universe cares little for laws. "Do it," he said. "Better to reveal than to shatter." On Earth, scientists tracked rising anomalies. Satellites detected an immense gravitational fluctuation. Weather sensors recorded pressure drops in the upper atmosphere, like something massive displaced the air without form. Governments issued alerts. Military jets were prepared. At the observatory, Dr. Elias Ward stared at the latest satellite image. Something vast occupied the sky, yet the pixels blurred around it, like reality refused to focus. "This is not a trick of light," he whispered. "Something is truly there." He sent one message to every agency he could reach. "This is not a natural phenomenon. Prepare." High above, Voris placed his hand on the final switch. "Core reset in 10 seconds, he spoke. Nira turned to Serac. "When they see us," she asked, "what will you say?" Serac answered only with silence. The countdown began. 10, 9, 8. On Earth, night skies deepened. In city streets, people lifted their phones. In quiet towns, families stepped outside. Children pointed upward, eyes wide with an instinctive wonder. 7, 6, 5. The sky seemed to hold its breath. 4, 3, 2, 1. In the heavens, a great flash rippled outward. Not fire, not thunder. A wave of bending light, like glass breaking in silence. The cloak collapsed, the ship revealed. It hung above the atmosphere like a silent continent, colossal and impossible. Metallic spires curved like alien cathedrals. Vast rings rotated with slow gravity. Its surface shimmered with symbols no human had ever seen. For a heartbeat, the world went still. Then Earth screamed. Cars stopped in the streets. News channels erupted. Cameras zoomed into the sky. Crowds fell to their knees or shouted to the heavens. Some cried, some prayed, some simply trembled. In the command deck, Serac watched human chaos unfold across thousands of screens. "They know," Darren said. "We must prepare defenses," but Serac raised his hand. "No." Nira looked to him in quiet shock. "No weapons," Serac said. "No attack. We have hidden too long. Let them see us without fear." On Earth, General Hayes stood on a military command floor, eyes locked on the impossible image. Officers demanded orders. "Do we fire?" one asked. General Hayes did not blink. "No, we do not shoot at gods." In a city street, Lena Marlowe watched tears fall from her eyes. She whispered 3 trembling words. "They are real. The world was changed forever. Up in the sky, on Virelon." The Anshar stood as witnesses rather than watchers for the first time in history. "What happens now?" Nira whispered. Serac exhaled. "Now," he said, "we see who they truly are. And they will see us." The age of myths had ended. The age of encounter had begun. Panic shook the world, but wonder held it still. The image of the alien ship spread across every screen, every phone, every news channel. Some people cried in fear. Others shouted in anger, but many simply stared, unable to speak, as if their minds could not yet accept a truth so large. In a quiet living room, a young boy named Aaron pressed his face to the window. His mother tried to pull him back, but he whispered, "I am not scared." They came to be seen. Above Earth, on the great ship Virelon, the Anshar studied humanity's reaction. Thousands of live broadcasts flickered across their screens. Humans gathering in streets, praying in temples, pointing telescopes, sending rockets into the sky. "They fear what they do not understand," Captain Darren said. "This will turn to violence." Commander Serac watched silently. Scholar Nira stepped forward, her voice calm. "Some fear, but look deeper. Many are not afraid. They are curious." On a screen, she highlighted a scene. A group of humans stood on a beach holding signs. No hatred, no weapons, only words. "We welcome you." Serac narrowed his eyes. Something stirred inside him. He had watched humans for centuries, through war and peace, through rage and mercy. To reveal themselves was to risk everything. But to hide again might be impossible now. "Do we speak to them?" Nira asked. Darren turned sharply. "Speak? They are unstable. A single misstep and they will strike." "Or listen," Nira replied. "They may listen." Far below, in a military command room, General Hayes stood before a giant screen showing the alien vessel. Officers shouted for guidance. "Should we launch warnings?" One asked. "Should we send demands?" Another pressed. General Hayes raised a hand. Silence followed. "No aggression," he ordered. If they wanted war, Earth would already burn. In a research facility, Dr. Elias Ward prepared an emergency transmission. His discovery was no longer secret. The world already knew. He spoke calmly into the microphone. "If anyone receives this, hear me. Do not meet them with weapons. Meet them with understanding. We are witnesses to history. Across Earth, scientists, leaders, and civilians debated a single question, the greatest in human history. How do we answer?" Back on Virelon, the Anshar Council gathered. High elders, cloaked in silver robes, stood in a great circular chamber. Each one carried centuries of memory. "We should leave," one elder said. "We have broken the law of the Watch. Our presence will destroy their balance." We should prepare, another argued. Humanity will seek to control us. They always conquer what they fear, Nira stood boldly. They cannot conquer what they do not understand. And we cannot judge what we have never spoken to. All eyes turned to Serac. He stepped forward slowly. For every age we have watched them. Through storms of war. Through moments of compassion. And now we face truth. Humans are many things, fierce, flawed, unpredictable. But they are alive with purpose. Do we remain silent? Nira asked. Serac lowered his head. No, we will speak. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Captain Dyron clenched his fists. If they respond with fire, their sky will burn. Serac turned to him. If they respond with fire, then they were never ready. But if they respond with reason, this moment will change all worlds. Nira nodded. They must know we did not come as invaders. Serac gave a single command. Prepare the signal. On Earth, radio stations crackled across every nation. Static roared. Then silence held the air like a final breath. A sound followed, not language, not music. A tone, calm, steady, rhythmic. 3 beats, pause. 3 beats, pause, 3 beats. People around the world froze. Dr. Elias recognized it first. His voice trembled. Morse code, SOS. But this was no cry for help, it was recognition. We see you from the alien ship. Another sequence followed. Shapes of sound, patterns, mathematics, harmony. They are not speaking words, Elias whispered. They are speaking logic, universals, peace. In city streets, the fearful lowered their weapons. The doubtful raised their eyes. Even skeptics stood motionless. All waited. For an answer, General Hayes approached the transmission console. What do we say back? An officer asked. Hayes inhaled deeply. We say, we hear you. High above on Virelon, the bridge fell silent. Serac's eyes softened. They responded, yes. Nira whispered. They chose understanding. Darren folded his arms. For now, Serac turned to him slowly. For now is enough. Earth trembled not with fear, but with awakening. The first true contact had begun. Across the world, the message echoed, they see us. They are real. Some humans knelt in tears. Others shouted in panic. Streets filled with voices, arguments, prayers. The sky was no longer sky. It had become a mirror, reflecting back the question humanity never prepared to answer. Who are we? When someone else is watching. In a crowded marketplace, a woman held her daughter tightly. Do not look, she whispered. But the child only stared upward, unafraid. In a dark room, a preacher cried out, they are demons. While a teacher whispered, they are not demons. They are guests. In hidden online rooms, debates raged. Some demanded war. Others begged for peace. Curiosity battled against fear, and no leader could silence either. Governments divided. In a confidential world summit, leaders appeared through secure screens. Voices overlapped. We must prepare defenses, one declared. We must protect our skies, another insisted. A quiet voice responded, what will guns do against that? General Hayes stood calmly. We cannot win a war we don't understand. We must answer their signal. We must show them reason. But another commander slammed a fist on the table. What if this is their trick? What if they wait for us to drop our guard? Hayes met his eyes. If they wanted to conquer us, they would have done it already. Silence followed. Scientists and dreamers in a research station. Dr. Elias Ward gathered scientists. Mathematicians, linguists, astronomers. He wrote one phrase on a board. First contact protocol. We reply with intelligence, Elias said. Not words, patterns. Messages they can read. A young physicist asked, do you think they are listening now? Elias looked toward the window. I believe they always were. Human streets protests began. People held signs. Trust the visitors. Stay silent. Defend Earth. Riots broke in some cities. Fear poisoned courage. In other places, people lit candles, forming circles of peace. Musicians played under the open sky. Parents pointed stars out to their children, telling them that everything had changed. On a rooftop, Lena Marlowe spoke into a small live stream. I'm not afraid, she said. If they came to hurt us, we would already be gone. I believe they came because they were curious. Just like us, her message spread. Millions watched. Hope stirred. Aboard Virelon, the alien debate in the alien council chamber, arguments rose like thunder. "Look at them," Captain Darren said coldly. "They riot. They divide. They are not ready." Scholar Nera replied, "They are reacting to truth. Fear is natural. Curiosity is powerful. They may attack us," another warned. Nera stepped forward. "And yet when we spoke," they answered, "not with missiles, with meaning." All eyes turned to Commander Serac. His silence was heavy. "They stand at the edge of fear and discovery," Serac said. "It is the same place we once stood before we touched the stars." "They are not us," Darren muttered. "No," Serac agreed. "They are something new." The first human reply on Earth. General Hayes and Dr. Elias prepared a signal. No words, only understanding. 3 tones, pause. 3 tones, pause. "We hear you." Across Virelon, a quiet hush fell. The signal arrived, pure, without threat. They answered. Nera breathed. Serac nodded. "Begin translation array." "Let us listen." Darren turned away with folded arms, unconvinced, fear's last cry. But fear was not silent. In a hidden military hangar, a rogue unit prepared jets and missiles. "We strike first," their leader growled. "Before they strike us." A single pilot hesitated. "What if this begins a war?" "It already is," the commander snapped. Engines roared to life. The eyes of a child far from conflict on a farmhouse hill, young Aaron sat alone under the stars. No fear touched him, only wonder. He lifted a small light, waving it gently at the sky, high above. In the observation decks of Virelon, Nera saw it. A single human child, shining a tiny light to a vast ship. "He waves," Nera whispered. "He thinks we can see him." Serac watched silently. "Can we?" she asked. Serac's voice was low. "We see more than he knows," Nera turned. "Then let us show him. Not monsters, not gods, just truth." The world trembled on a blade's edge. Fear waited on one side. Curiosity burned on the other, and above it all, 2 civilizations stood ready to decide which side would rise first. High above Earth, the alien ship Virelon held position, silent as stone, yet heavy with thought. Communication attempts had begun. Curiosity was alive, but on the surface of Earth, fear was not done. In hidden military bases, engines rumbled. Missiles were fueled. War, born from human instinct, prepared to rise, and yet, somewhere far from weapons, another kind of truth was taking shape. A world in motion in cities, some screamed for defense, others gathered for peace. Churches, temples, libraries, schools, each spoke their fears or hopes. Yet through the chaos, a quiet message grew. Do not respond with hate. In a hospital, a nurse paused while watching the sky through the window. She held the hand of a dying patient and whispered, "You are not alone. None of us are." At a small school, a teacher told her class, "Even if they are different, we must show what humanity is." The rogue strike on an airstrip gets lined in silence under red warning lights. A rogue commander barked orders. "We strike before they act, before they destroy us." But one pilot, Lieutenant Marin, did not move. Her hands stayed on her knees. "They have not attacked us," she said. "They revealed themselves and we choose fear." "You are a soldier," the commander growled. "I am human first," she answered. She removed her helmet and stood. Others watched. One by one, a few pilots stepped back. The commander cursed. But the air remained still. No jets lifted. On Virelon, the observation continues, Scholar. Nera watched it all. The fear, the courage, the confusion. "They are divided," Captain Darren said. "They do not know what they want." "They never did," Nera replied. "But they choose, even in confusion. That is strength." Commander Serac looked into a screen, showing humans forming candlelight circles in cities across the globe. "No weapons, just light. What are they doing?" Serac asked. "Sending their own signal," Nera said softly. "They do not speak through machines. They speak through meaning. A disaster on Earth suddenly, an earthquake struck a coastal region. Houses crumbled. Fires burst. Roads split. People screamed beneath falling stone and broken glass. Across Virelon, alarms flashed. Human emergency broadcasts filled screens. Heartbreaking images, children trapped, strangers pulling strangers from rubble, men carrying the wounded on their backs. Captain Darren frowned. Even now they fight themselves. Not fight, Nira said. Look, she pointed. A man, bleeding and crawling, pushed aside debris not to escape, but to save someone he did not know. A woman shielded a crying child with her own body. Neighbors formed lines, passing buckets, digging with bare hands. They suffer, Nira whispered. But they do not abandon each other. Serak's realization, Commander Serak leaned closer. Eyes fixed. They are not perfect, he said. But they are not cruel by nature. Darren looked away. They are dangerous. Serak answered, so were we once. Earth's broadcast in a city studio, global leaders prepared a public message. No flags, no weapons. Just a man stepping forward to speak, not as a president but as a human. If you can hear us, he said, voice steady, know this. We do not understand you, but we will not harm you. We choose to reach, not strike. Around the world, the broadcast repeated in 100 tongues. We welcome truth. We seek peace. The alien vote back on Virulon. The Anshar gathered in council. The question was final. Do we respond to humanity, or vanish again? One elder said, they are fearful. Another said, they are brave. Captain Darren stood. They may deceive us. Their unity is fragile. Scholar Nira raised her head. Unity born without doubt has no meaning. Their unity is strong because it rises through fear. Commander Serak spoke last. For ages we watched their wars, but we also watched their healing. We saw them fight, but we also saw them forgive. They are flawed, but they move towards something greater. They are becoming, he paused. It is time we speak. The child and the sky on a hill, young Aaron still waved his light to the sky. His father said, come inside. Aaron answered, what if they are waving back? Nira watched him through the observation lens. Commander, she said, it begins with gestures. Let us send one. Serak gave the final order. Prepare the first transmission. Humanity had shown anger. Fear, kindness, sacrifice, and the Watchers, after centuries of silence, finally understood. To meet humans is to meet contradiction, but also possibility. The world waited. Nations stood still. Armies held their breath. Families gathered around screens, radios, rooftops. Humanity, divided in fear and united in wonder, stared at the sky where Virulon, the alien ship, floated like a silent moon. They had seen human anger. They had seen human kindness. Now it was time to speak. Inside Virulon, the moment of decision, Commander Serak stood before the central console. Around him, the Anshar Council formed a circle, elders, soldiers, scholars, all with uncertain eyes. Captain Darren stepped forward. If we speak, we change everything. Scholar Nira replied, silence has already changed. They have seen us. We must choose what we are to them, shadow or truth. Serak placed his hand over the activation crystal. We reveal intention, he said. Not power. The chamber lights dimmed. The transmission pillar rose, humming like wind across mountains. Earth holds its breath in. The United Nations broadcast hall. The world's leaders stood before cameras. No speeches, no demands. Just waiting, in homes, in cars, in fields. People watched sky and screen. Dr. Elias whispered, this is history. General Hayes, stern yet calm, said only, pray they come in peace. Lena Marlowe sat on her rooftop, tears in her eyes. Please, she whispered, let them see our light. Not our fear. Far on a hill, young Aaron still waved his small flashlight to the sky, a single human hand reaching into the stars. The first alien voice, the sky changed. Not light, not thunder. A soft resonance filled the air. No language, only clarity. A voice that spoke not to ears, but to minds. It was calm, measured, ancient. We are the Anshar. We have watched. We have seen your fear. We have seen your courage. All across Earth people trembled, not with fear, but with awe. We did not come to rule. We did not come to harm. We came to understand. General Hayes lowered his head. Dr. Elias closed his eyes. Lena covered her mouth with shaking hands. Millions wept humanity's reply. For a moment Earth was silent, then a voice, human, trembling yet strong, spoke into a world broadcast. It was a simple farmer, not a leader, not a soldier. Standing outside with a radio mic, he said, "We are flawed. We fear what we do not know, but we want to learn. If you will speak, we will listen." His words echoed through cities, through deserts, through oceans. Human voices joined. We welcome you. Talk to us. Teach us. Know us. A single gesture in the observation deck of Virelon. Nira turned to Serac. "They ask not for power. They ask for understanding." Serac nodded. "Begin the beacon." From the alien ship, a beam of soft light descended. Not to destroy, not to take, but to mark a meeting place, a message of peace, a neutral ground, a space between worlds. The symbol in the sky, the light formed a ring above the clouds, visible from every land. Within it, symbols shifted gently, mathematics, music, unity, not a command. An invitation, Dr. Elias whispered. "They want dialogue." General Hayes ordered, "Stand down all weapons." "This is no invasion." Lena fell to her knees, whispering, "This is hope." On the hill, young Aaron lifted his light again, smiling, the future unwritten on the alien deck. Captain Daren watched Earth's lights. "They will still fear us," he said. "They will," Serac answered. "And still they reached out." Nira smiled softly. "This is how all journeys begin." Serac placed his hand over his heart. "Let them prove what they can become. And we will prove what we are." Final message, from one world to another, from the ship. One last phrase entered every human mind. "We are not above you. We are beside you. What you become, we will witness. What we become, you may witness too." No conqueror had arrived. No savior had descended. Two civilizations had simply met. The age of listening had begun.